These wide receivers are skyrocketing up fantasy rankings. We're going to look at them today. The first one we're going to look at is Quentin Johnston. I mean, Quentin Johnston, when you look at him, in case you didn't know, by the way, he was drafted over Jordan Addison and Zay Flowers both. Oh, and also, in case you didn't know, QB, Justin Herbert. Ever heard of him? Pretty big extension for Justin Herbert this week. Remember last year when you said that his value was affected because he didn't have a contract? You remember that?
No, because you were saying that he was on par with Josh Allen. And I was right.
We're seeing a lot of
Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston like the next Jalen Reagor?
Well, people have said that. And I think the reason people said that is because they went at the same pick or something, right?
No, they went to the same school. Did you know that?
Didn't they? But where was Jalen Reagor picked? I feel like they were picked in the same spot.
They might have been, actually.
Anyways, we've seen a lot of QJ hype. There was a video of QJ on Twitter. He was literally like levitating. It was awesome. It was so freaking cool. We're seeing a lot of high pointing from what, I think this is from Pro Football Focus. We'll put the tweet up. It says that huge if he keeps it up, and thought it was a real weak point at TCU, especially for a guy of his size. But, I mean, if you watch the video, like I said, I mean, that's a really good thing that Quentin Johnston can add to his game. He's 6'3", 208 pounds. He's proving, though, that he's not a body catcher. And look, take everything in training camp with a grain of salt. However, he wasn't a body catcher before, and this is just kind of furthering that point that we had already been making. The dude has hands, okay? Can they get better? I mean, he's got hands. Can they get better? Absolutely. Yes, but at the same time, here's my main issue. The dude is still being drafted behind Mike Williams and Keenan Allen by a fair amount. I've not drafted any Keenan Allen this offseason. I've drafted minimal Mike Williams, but I have drafted a lot of QJ because there's a pretty good chance, if you ask me, that one of Keenan Allen or Mike Williams will be hurt any given week this season. How do we know this? Because last year happened.
Casual take.
I know. Analyzing statistics and identifying trends is so freaking casual. But guess what? When one of those guys or both of those guys do miss a game, why do you think they drafted QJ? Do you think they're like, yeah, we need the best wide receiver 3 in the league? Or do you think they're like, well, our 2 old receivers are kind of not exactly standing on the field right now, so we should probably have a pretty good depth at that position? And they do. And because of that, QJ,
he is
wide receiver 40. He's being projected as a mid wide receiver 4.
Here are the guys going around Quentin Johnston right now. And I just want to see who you prefer. Treylon Burks.
I don't mind that.
I don't know.
I'll take Quentin Johnston.
I'm higher on Burks than most, but he's still probably QJ though.
Okay. George Pickens.
I'll take QJ.
Okay, yeah, QJ.
Jahan Dotson.
I'll take Dotson.
Gabe Davis.
QJ.
Brandon Cooks.
QJ.
Tony.
QJ.
Elijah Moore.
QJ.
Flowers.
All right, well, you made... Oh.
Maybe Flowers.
Yeah.
But
so our point is,
I think
this is Quentin Johnston a good value. He's moving up rankings. We're seeing a lot of hype, like a lot of videos. I think a lot of people are noticing this. He's a big guy out there playing with Justin Herbert, and you already made this point. When you look at Mike Williams getting hurt the last 2 seasons, Keenan Allen getting hurt at the end of last year, there's a pretty good chance any given week, Quentin Johnston might be the wide receiver 2 out there. And we look at Josh Palmer last year being in the wide receiver 3 on that same offense. Josh Palmer already last year was the wide receiver 42. Do you think Quentin Johnston is better than Josh Palmer, by the way?
If I had to guess, like from a prospect level standpoint, my guess is that I would put Quentin Johnston ahead of Josh
maybe
Palmer
by a little bit.
By a little bit.
Josh Palmer had 107 targets and 769
Nice.
Receiving yards last year. And I think Quentin Johnston can easily step in and do the same thing, if not more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets 1,000 yards this year and, that's pretty good.
I think one of the most compelling things about Quentin Johnston is he's 6'3", 208 pounds. That is almost exactly what I am. I'm like 6'3", 210.
Yep.
So wow, you're so cool. You may as well be Quentin
Johnston.
Johnston.
At me, and that's what you're getting in Quentin Johnston, and nobody would draft him if they knew that. Next guy on this list, you've got him, Nathan.
Nathan, I guess, is the next guy that we're going to be talking about.
No,
just
Nathan
kidding.
is your name, and I was assigning you the next guy on this list.
I was being sarcastic.
When I was saying that, I was insinuating that you were going to take the next guy that's on the docket.
So Jaxon Smith-Njigba is going to be the next guy that we're going to be talking about here in fantasy. And yes, if you guys follow us over at Dynasty Domain, we have been talking about JSN since... Oh my gosh! I can't even tell you how long we've been talking about him. At this point, though,
since
since he was. I mean, before he was born. And look, there's still a question of DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett in that offense. Absolutely merited. Absolutely true. Tyler Lockett last year and DK Metcalf were both top 24 wide receivers, supported by Geno Smith. Then you're going into this season where Zach Charbonnet is added as really primarily a receiving back threat. That's more targets taken away. You're like, man, how many targets are really going to be divided among these guys in the Seahawks offense, and who's going to be the primary wide receiver there? Well, I can tell you pretty much right away that DK Metcalf is going to have 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns. Oh. So if you don't believe me, just go back and look at every single season DK Metcalf has played in the NFL.
How would you know that?
Insert DK Metcalf screenshot.
Are you some kind of fortune teller?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a fortune teller.
Stub my toe that
so
day.
Look, we're just going to establish right off the bat. That's what DK is going to do. Then you've got Tyler Lockett, who, look, he was phenomenal in his own right last season, but he did struggle with injury towards the end of the year. Yeah, it was a hand thing. Yeah, it was a finger thing, but he is not getting any younger. And JSN is literally a glorified version of Tyler Lockett. And when you're looking at fantasy football and best ball, you win your championships at the end of the season. Yes, JSN could start off a little bit slow this year when it comes to target share and opportunity share. I am willing to bet that after week 8, maybe even before, that JSN solidifies himself as, yes, the primary wide receiver 1 in the Seahawks offense.
You butchered it. You butchered it. The Seahawks. Oh, the Seahawks. No, and it's not like this is something that we're like, we're sitting on our phones and we're like, oh, look at that catch. He might be the wide receiver 1.
He's shown it before. He's proven it before.
And we've said this for months and months and months since JSN was an infant baby.
Yes.
Okay. So there's going to be the people who argue in college, 22% of JSN's production came from one game when Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson were gone.
Take it away. He's still outproducible.
78% of his 1,600 yards came with them on the field as well in a normal 12-game season. The guy is seriously good. Please do not doubt that. And we honestly think he might lead the team in targets this year. DK Metcalf had 141 targets last year, and that's really good considering the type of wide receiver DK Metcalf is. I have some breaking news for you. Jaxon Smith-Njigba is a better separator than DK Metcalf.
No way.
Oh, have you also seen the clip where Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson say Jaxon Smith-Njigba is the best athlete out of the 3 of them? Yeah. I think that means a lot.
Yeah. Guys, this is a no-brainer to me. I mean, we are not in the business of comparing rookie prospects going into this season to guys that are pretty much proven outliers like Garrett Wilson his rookie year. Yes, we're comparing JSN to Garrett Wilson this season because he's playing with a better quarterback and he outproduced him in college he did it 2 years ago.
Doesn't mean anything.
But it doesn't mean anything, apparently. JSN currently valued at wide receiver 32, a low-end wide receiver 3. The sky is absolutely the limit for this guy when you're looking at his price right now. Give me JSN there all day.
Yeah, and the next guy who's been moving up rankings a lot is, you guessed it, it's another rookie wide receiver. Zay Flowers has been getting a lot of attention from fantasy football analysts, from fantasy football Twitter, and we love to see it. In case you didn't remember, Zay Flowers was picked in the first round of this year's NFL draft. He's a very good wide receiver. He was a really good wide receiver prospect in college. He had a 29.6% target share. That means he was thrown to a lot. He gets open. He does a lot with those. And you look at the Ravens offense. Historically, they have not passed the ball a lot. They haven't had an elite producing wide receiver really outside of, some stretches of Marquise Brown in the past. But I think them drafting Rashad Bateman in the first round just 2 years ago, and again, Zay Flowers in the first round this year means they want to pass the ball more. Why would they spend these first round picks on these players if they didn't want to pass the ball? If they didn't want to use them? I think Zay Flowers is going to be drafted at wide receiver 45. He absolutely deserves to be moving up like he is. Everyone's seeing how good he is in camp, what he can do with the ball in his hands, how elite he is as a separator. We absolutely love to see it, and I personally completely okay with it. You see people saying who's going to be the best rookie wide receiver in the league, and PFF will put the tweet on the screen. PFF says you're maybe looking at Zay Flowers being the lead rookie wide receiver, over Quentin Johnston, who we just talked about, over Jordan Addison, who we didn't talk about, and over Jaxon Smith-Njigba. Zay Flowers moving up a lot right now, and we're still buying in.
Yeah, and another guy who's moving up along with literally every other receiver on this team. I don't know if there's a receiver on this team that's not having a good
I think this
game.
just proves that no one knows what they're talking about.
What about Kadarius Toney?
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that. But Skyy Moore is going to be the next guy on this list. And Skyy Moore, outside of MVS's booty cheeks. Did you do that?
No.
You. I did not do that.
I didn't write this. I didn't prep this one.
I don't write the videos. I don't know what you're talking about.
The most experienced wide receiver outside of MVS in the offense now is Skyy Moore. Is that scary? Yeah, it actually is. However, people jumped ship way too quick on Skyy Moore last year. Absolutely did. Trending. Here's from Chiefs Outsider. Chiefs wide receiver Skyy Moore has been unguardable and a headache for the Chiefs defense so far in training camp. He's rarely dropped any passes thrown to him, and is continuously.
I feel like that's the bare minimum.
I know, like, you're doing your job, and it's continuously getting open. Moore seemed to be Mahomes' favorite target so far in training camp. Now 152,000 people saw that tweet. Wow.
Okay, you do realize that most of the teams right now have still even yet to put pads on, and when you're unguardable in the first few days of training camp, it's because there's only so much physical contact that you can make.
It's like saying that somebody's
as a
unguardable
DB with the wide
combine,
receiver. That's like Darren Waller being unguardable. Stop.
But it is
Stop.
taking his ADP up. People are seeing this hype and saying, "Oh, we got the next Tyreek Hill." I think that's what they're saying. Who knows? Maybe if they're unreasonable. But
here's the thing. Kadarius Toney, guess what? Guess what about Kadarius Toney?
Did he get injured?
He's injured. Surprise face on 3-1-2-3. I mean, who would have even guessed that? Oh, wait. Pretty much everybody that has a brain. And Rashee Rice is a rookie. He's probably going to have a slow start, too, as much hype as we're seeing about him. So, is that actually true about Skyy Moore and his target share?
target rate.
He had 22% target rate last year.
Yeah, so when he ran a route, he was targeted 22% of the time.
I was like, what? Am I missing something?
That's really good,
That's
though.
still good.
It's not bad.
And look, with Skyy Moore, let's talk about his price. He's going as the wide receiver 48 in fantasy leagues, best ball leagues. I'm not going to lie to you. I still like Skyy Moore at that price.
I did too.
I do too, which is actually funny after all the hype that we were talking about there. With him, I'm looking for a guy at wide receiver 48 who can play a gadget role in an offense, who maybe even has rushing upside. And Skyy Moore is a guy that I'm looking for in that range for sure.
You've got the last guy on this list.
The last guy is John Metchie, and John Metchie, let's just approach him like he's a rookie. He didn't play last year. Unfortunately, he had leukemia.
It's not his rookie season.
This is actually John Metchie's rookie season. He didn't even touch the field last year. John Metchie is getting a lot of hype right now. Not only do I already think he's the best wide receiver on the Texans, because, who's Nico Collins anyways? John Metchie, you look here. John Metchie has defenders going in the opposite direction. He was actually a
Dude,
really
I don't
good.
even see him. They really went in the opposite direction.
Is that was the one he did like a triple move on the one-on-one drill, right?
Yeah, no, he actually has been running some
video.
serious routes, and who's surprised? We
an
watched
Alabama
John
guy.
Metchie film. The reason John Metchie fell in the draft at all was because of his underwhelming athleticism. I believe he ran a 4.6 40, and that's not great, right? But he had a 23% target share on the same team as Jameson Williams, who a lot of people love. He had 1,142 yards and 8 touchdowns at Alabama, right, in the SEC. It's hard to get on the field at Alabama. You're playing with so many other really, really good wide receivers. Well, now he's pretty much in a wide open wide receiver room. Nico Collins, who else? Brandon Cooks is gone.
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell's there. Yeah. Dalton Schultz. And John Metchie at wide receiver 77 is starting to move up a lot. People are seeing him get back on the field, and they're getting excited. And when he's this cheap, I'm not going to... Why the heck else would you not draft him?
I've got so many John Metchies.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I'll continue to draft him.
Yeah, I will too. Really happy to see him back out there on the field, and he deserves to be moving up.
Yeah, I mean, of all the guys, I want you guys to call your shot here. Who do you think, with the because Dalton Schultz is a tight end, who do you think the lead wide receiver in that offense is going to be this year?
John Metchie.
Tank Dell. No, John Metchie. Absolutely.
Yeah, John Metchie. And you guys tell us.
Tank Dell's as big as this body armor bottle. Let's cool it with
he's
Tank,
20.
okay?
He's almost 24.
Well, CJ Stroud actually asked. It doesn't matter. It doesn't. John Metchie.
Tank's good.
Yeah, he'll
he
be
is
fine.
good. He's a good route
But yeah,
runner.
tell
He's
us,
a real good route
guys, tell us in the comments. I'm actually curious what you guys think about John Metchie specifically this year. Do you think he's the lead wide receiver with CJ Stroud in Houston this season? Do you think it's Collins? And if you think it's Tank Dell, don't say anything in the comments. So
No, you should. I mean,
Just type it in all lowercase.
I was kidding. Tank Dell's a good route runner and everything. So, you want to help us out? You want to do us a huge favor? Like on 3, 1, 2, 3. You were late.
No, I was
make
not.
sure you subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. We've got fantasy content coming out all season long. We're going to have multiple videos a week telling you rankings, who to start, who to sit, I'm telling you, you're going to want to do it. And also, if you want all the resources to win your fantasy leagues, flockfantasy.com/domain. You get all of our content there and other creators' content as well. When you use code domain, you get 30% off. Rankings, articles, databases. You get to go to our Discord and chat with us there every day. And honestly, that's a pretty good resource to be able to chat with a community like that. And you get a team review video of your fantasy team, so you're going to want to do that as well. We appreciate you watching. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.